Okay, at the beginning of this video, you're going to see a little bit of a flyby of what this place originally looked like. I went through and made a creative version of my world, just the base world. So I could actually look at how much progress I've done. And needless to say, it was a little bit staggering to look at how little was there whenever I started. How much of it was coarse dirt when I started. So we are back. This is actually where I was flying, right there, whenever I was looking over this area. And now you can see it isn't nearly as clear as it was. There's also a few mushrooms that were right here that I removed because they were blocking the walkway. I have extended this. A few things have happened in between episodes. The ants are still here. I've extended this path. I'm going to keep extending it because this is what's going to take us out into this. But I've finished putting in the trees. I've finished putting in all the fields. I think we're going to go this way first because this is where I've done all of the recent stuff. I'm going to go through the animal area. And you can see now we have the wheat field fully in place. And up here, there are now a bunch of trees, all with lanterns on them. I don't know what I want to do with this space. This seems like a waste to just leave it here like this. Maybe I'll do like a small bit of a vinery right here. Just like a few plants just sitting over here. Because I do want at least a little bit of every single mod up in the main house area. So that may be what I do here. Is that I do plan on putting more of the bushes I have over here up along this. And then putting some more flowers and grass and stuff along this. So it kind of blocks this area. And I'll probably grow up another tree right about here. And right there to completely block off the forest a little bit more. And then this just takes us back into here, which we're going to be focusing on this area a little bit later. I want to keep coming back to this area and adding a little bit more and adding a little bit more and adding a little bit more as I go through. But right now, it's just going to sit like that. Coming back to the main road, we of course have our corn patch here. And coming up here, I think I've decided what I want to do here. What are you? Why are you half health? I think I want to do a bonfire here. I think that's my plan for what to do right here is a little bit of a bonfire. And then going this way, we have our oats. Can't even see over them, but there is an entire field of oats right here. Of course, we have our small fishing pond right here. That fades back into going into a lake. Now, none of this water existed when I got here. I completely put in all the water and all that other stuff. And then, of course, going through the house, which is probably the biggest change. Because we started with just this hole in the ground, which is now extended far beyond that. But I think we're going to start up here, where I've done a few adjustments up here. I haven't touched the kitchen since I put it in. But back here, I figured out the couch setup. How I want it to sit. I do plan on putting a table here and then like another table here. Or maybe like a standing lamp. We do have like some of our like handcrafted and stuff like that. So we do have some cool furnitures I can put in. I want to go through and put in a few more shelves. Maybe some actual bookcases down here. This is a willow cabinet. I just felt like it blended in with the darkness here enough. And it gives some extra storage in here if I need it. And then going back out this way, we do, of course, have our upstairs, which I haven't really done anything with the upstairs besides removing the animals from up here. I did put the pictures I took of our base up here. And then over in here, of course, is our enchanting setup, which I plan on modifying pretty soon. Then, of course, we have our little bit of a lake back there that eventually flows into the lakes going down here. Of course, there's all of this. I think now that I see it, I kind of want to do a little bit more foliage. I may go through and just bone meal a bit more grass on this side, just to help with the look a little bit. And of course, this is meant to be like a desk study area or maybe another lounge area. I don't know. And then this was meant to be a bathroom, which I have done a few things in here, but just not a whole lot. And then heading down, we of course have our crafting zones. This is my entire chest system, which I still have yet to grow out of, and even if I do end up filling this thing up, I can still upgrade these chests quite a bit. Because this is only the iron version of these chests. They can still go through gold and then diamond, if I need to. But of course, this is our entire setup. We have all of our backpacks over here. We still have extra backpacks down in here with all of the plushies, which I plan on moving back upstairs whenever I get the shelving system in. That's where all of these guys are going to go. And then, of course, all of our mainly used chip benches are here. And then this is our mod pack area where we have herbal brews, and this is candlelight as well as farm and charm is in here. We're going to start here. Of course, our display with all of our foods on it. And then heading back this way, this is herbal brews. I did eventually go through and put rooted dirt here instead of the rich soil because they kept bone mealing themselves, and I had so many of them. I was just like, you know what, we're just going to replace this dirt with something else because I can't do this anymore. But there we go. And then, of course, back here, I haven't fully modified this area, but that's going to be brewery, and this is going to be vinery. Just, they're going to have their benches and stuff worked into these areas, and of course, we're going to have, like, storage facilities for all of the stuff. So this wall is probably going to come out and then be filled with, like, the little bottle things for vinery down in here. And then, heading down this way, this is Hextalia, which has all of its stuff. Everything else for this mod is upstairs next to the greenhouse. So that's where we're at here. And then, of course, my nether portal and my waystone. Waystones are not normal to Homestead. I added it in as a personal thing because I tend to explore really far out and I tend to grind for materials really far out. Okay. And then, of course, we also have this side piece. This connects to the front. We'll cover this in a second. And then we also have this side door that's over here that goes out to this balcony, which currently only has my little bone meal farm out here. I do plan on moving this somewhere else, but I feel like I need to get the major farming areas out of the way first. And then I'm going to move this guy. I'm probably actually going to move it into the barn, now that I think about it. But I will do that later. Now coming back out here, there is this path. This is the other side of the oat field. It's right there. Then a little bit of just a little greenery patch that's back here. Then we also have the Hextalia, or Hexalia, celestial blooms that took me forever to find. I have one over here, and then I have two more over there, because that's actually the setup you need for the mod. And then, of course, this is where I handle all of the rituals for that mod. And then the big wheat field, which I put this, like, I put in the area for it on camera, and then I completely filled it in off camera, because this actually took me like an hour to do. In order to get all of the seeds for it, I had to hoe the ground, I had to get the water sources in, then I had to hoe the ground again, and then I had to get all the seeds for this. Because even though I had 2 stacks of seeds in my storage, it was still not enough seeds to fully fill this in. And then, of course, I put those trees back in, which look amazing back there. I do plan on putting another one here and probably another one here to kind of block the sight lines a little bit more. And then I want to touch in the greenhouse, but I'm not going to go all the way through it because it is a throughway. This is kind of a hallway area for me. But this has the Farmer's Delight crops as well as the vanilla crops in here. Then we come to the back of the house, which still needs to be worked on a little bit. Before I turn around and before I'm turning back on the path and y'all see this in its full glory, I do plan on fixing this. This is on the to-do list of stuff. I need to get some more of these stair blocks and stuff and then actually elevate this to the back of the house, or at least fully blend it in. Just right now it is not fully blended in and it kind of looks funny. But this is actually where the Farm and Charm crops are, as well as I believe Candlelight, because Farm and Charm and Candlelight are both in the same basically mod family in this one. So Farm and Charm's crops can be used for Candlelight's stuff. It's like they're built into one another. So all of their crops are back here. I did do this really distressed looking path. I plan on doing this to all of my paths. Just as I figure them out and stuff like that. I want to get them in place before I start distressing them. This one I knew I wasn't moving, so this is the one that got distressed first. I do plan on doing that to this, at least to make this chunk of area match. I also need to come through and bone meal. Actually, do I have bone meal? I do have bone meal on me. Bone meal this ground a little bit. Because this needs more stuff around it. There we go. There we go. And then, of course, this pathway goes back to our lake back here. This one also has a little dock out here. And that is everything we've done to the base thus far. Now, we do have stuff like all the way back here. After we finish the last touches on the actual base, we're going to be coming back here because back here is actually where my mine shaft is. There is water at the bottom of that. I promise you there is water. And then, of course, my bubble elevator coming back up. I plan on turning this into like a smithy type of area. I want to fill this in completely with dirt. Oh. I want to fill this area in completely with dirt and then do a pathway back here and turn this area into a bit of a smithy. But this area is going to be cleared afterwards. I do plan on moving the ebony trees back some more, and I don't plan on you being able to see any of this lighter color grass that's back here. I don't plan on y'all being able to see any of this. I want to blend it completely into the ebony forest because I want my base to kind of stay inside the ebony forest. Well, at least this chunk of it, I want to stay in the ebony forest because I still have to clear some more of this mountain down because that's where all the animals and stuff are going to go. And then the first steps we take out of the ebony forest are going to be out into here, which are going to be the big fields. We're going to have our fishing area down over here. We're going to have the actual like vinery and brewery and stuff like that. That's all going to sit over here. And I feel like I want to do like some sort of walling system over here because that is a pillager outpost and I don't want to deal with it. Just personally. But that's for later on down the road. Today is finishing touches day. And I was already working on the finishing touches anyway, and I was like, why don't I just hit record and look at the difference of everything I've done. So today, you're going to join me for some little touches around the base. As I put in the fireplace over here, the small amount of vinery stuff I have, y'all are going to be here while I put all that stuff in. And there we go. The Hall of Grapes is done. I did do these little planter bits, and that's because these bottom ones, on most of them, don't get used. Except on this one. This one just kind of looks cool, but I'm still going to close it up. And then, of course, these are technically on a lattice, so they shouldn't be a problem, but just to make it consistent throughout, I went ahead and did that. I do plan on putting, like, some of the, like, the stepping grape things back here, probably. Or maybe just putting one or two of them in there. And then the rest of this room is going to be dedicated to actually making stuff for the grapes. But this just gives me a space where all of the grape variants can be that are inside the house. Now, decoratively, there is going to be a small grape patch on the outside of the house as well. But for usage, it's down here. Okay, and there we go. A little bit of the vinery outside, just like we wanted. It's not too heavy on it. I just wanted some of the grapes out here so you can kind of see that there is vinery in this base somewhere. And then back here, it's just a little table. Debated putting like some bread or something out here, but I just decided on a swamp lantern. just out here secluded in the woods. I only have 9 leaves left. Let's just go ahead and plop these about just in some areas. There we go. I ain't got many of those left. I do need to grind to get more of the leaves, but that is the one little touch thing I wanted to do real quick, was to get this in place and then to get that little campfire area in place, which I think is absolutely adorable. They are definitely good starts to the detailing of the base. I'm going to throw a few more rocks just kind of about. There we go. That just helps blend it a bit more. But now we got the campfire. We have our little dining area back in there. And that kind of helps polish off the base. Now, in between episodes, I'm going to be going through and detailing the ground. The reason I'm not doing that in this episode is because you can see how this looks. It is so detailed. This took me like 20 minutes to do, and that's just this tiny strip. I have all of this to do, all of this to do, and then all of this to do. So you can see why I kind of want to do it off camera. It's going to be a lot of detailing. Now, in between episodes, I'm also going to be making like a little bit of an outdoor pasture over here for the horse. I'm going to be detailing the ground a bit more. I'm going to be bone mealing a lot of the ground. I'm also going to be grinding for pine leaves so I can put a bit more of the bushes around, like the bushes we have over here, and the bushes we have for detailing everywhere else. I need more pine leaves in order to do that. So, until next time, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye!